Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top five are correct, then make predictions for next week's top five. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number one would be Kingsman: The Golden Circle, number two would be It, number three would be American Made, number four would be Flatliners, and number five would be the Lego Ninjago movie. And I haven't gotten this in a while now. I don't remember the last time, but I have gotten a full-on 0 out of 5 of my predictions right, which is quite unfortunate. I honestly did not expect this. I thought this was going to be an easier weekend to predict, but apparently not. So let's go over what happened. Number one was not Kingsman again. It was actually It, returning to the number one spot after Kingsman dethroned it for a while. That completely caught me off guard, but it made $17.3 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $291 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $553 million. So $9 million more domestically to get to $300 million domestically, and worldwide-wise, I think it'll be able to, as I said, maybe get to about $700 million worldwide before it leaves the top 10 as a whole. Now, this is very good for It, but you might be wondering, well, that must mean that Kingsman is at number two, right? Actually, no. Number two was American Made. Both It, after being dethroned by Kingsman, was able to dethrone Kingsman, and then American Made, which I don't know how many people thought this movie would do better than Kingsman, but it actually did better than Kingsman. It made $17.01 million this weekend. It beat Kingsman by like .01 million. So maybe when the actual results come out, they'll be switched. But I'm thinking American Made has had a strong enough opening right here, especially worldwide. That word of mouth has been spreading for a while. It's at $81 million worldwide. That is extremely impressive for this movie, especially for a Doug Liman and Tom Cruise movie. I know that their last movie, Edge of Tomorrow, was definitely much bigger. But, you know, since Tom Cruise, he's not the biggest box office draw that much, I guess you could say. So to see that this movie's actually doing pretty well on its opening weekend, it's almost doubled its budget worldwide, and the fact that people are going to talk about this movie because it is pretty good, and that's what I've been hearing from the response of others. I think this movie's going to have a pretty strong couple weeks. I'm not sure how long it'll stay here, but I think it'll have strong openings. Number three, we finally get to Kingsman: The Golden Circle. It opened with $17 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of only $66 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $135 million. It still needs about $69 million to get to the doubling point worldwide of its budget, and domestically, I thought for sure that with the stronger opening than the first Kingsman movie, that it maybe would have made a little bit more on its second weekend, but maybe this drop is kind of due to the fact that people found it disappointing. There are some people out there that, of course, do enjoy the movie, but the general response is that it was not as good as the first movie, which is kind of why it dropped more than 50%, because it opened with 39 last weekend, and this is definitely lower than that. I don't feel that bad for this movie because it's doing pretty well already, so it's not like it's in big trouble or anything. I think it would make more money if it actually turned out to be as good as the first Kingsman, if not better than that. But, you know, maybe the third one will do that. Number four, the Lego Ninjago movie. This movie actually held out better than I thought it would. It made $12 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of only $35 million, but on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $58 million. So the worldwide numbers are starting to add up a little bit more. It still needs to get to about $140 million to double its budget and be considered a success. So maybe this movie, I think this movie will definitely do that. As I said last weekend, this is very similar to another Warner animation movie, that being Storks. So I think this movie will do kind of as good as Storks, and then with the next Lego movies that they do, they'll do much better than Ninjago. And they probably won't try to do anything like Ninjago ever again, which is, I guess, sad. I'm not sure. I have not seen the movie yet. Number five is Flatliners. I thought this movie would get better than Ninjago, since it has a few trailers. I've heard from when I saw the trailer in theaters, I heard some whispers of like, hey, that looks pretty good, and now it has like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and no one's going to see it really. It only made $6 million this weekend on a budget of $19 million, so you can probably say this is a flop unless worldwide they start to add up. Now, the first Flatliners movie back in the day only opened with about $10 million, so it's not that big of a surprise that this movie isn't as popular, since the first original wasn't as popular. It kind of makes you wonder why they'd even try to remake this if they already know the audience doesn't really care for it, but whatever. Number 6 is Battle of the Sexes, a movie that was out in limited for a week now, and it's gotten into more theaters. It's expanded wide, and it made $3.4 million this weekend on a domestic total of $4 million with a budget of $25. Now, I think since it just expanded, maybe there will be a chance for it to expand more, maybe word of mouth of like, hey, that movie is now in theaters, maybe more people will go out and see it, so it'll be able to double its budget. But from right now, it just looks like another one of those indie kind of movies that not too many people are seeing, but people are certainly praising. I do want to see it at some point. Number 7 is American Assassin. It made $3.3 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $31 million, which is $2 million away from its $33 million budget, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $44 million, so technically it needs $22 million more dollars in order to double its $33 million budget. Now, worldwide, it did get a little bit of a boom, because last week I said that it made $32 million worldwide. Now it's at 44. There's definitely been a good growth there. I'm not sure if there's any other places worldwide that they need to calculate as far as the numbers go. I'm just thinking that American Assassin is just not that big of a hit, and maybe the studio should have, I don't know, not made the movie that, or planned a franchise out of this, because from what I'm seeing, not too many people were really that interested in it. I'm thinking the book fans saw it on its opening weekend, and then that was it. Now it's just kind of sitting here and trying to find more audience members that probably aren't digging it too much, since it is starting to slowly decline. Number 8 is Home Again. It made $1.7 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $25 million, which is beyond the doubling point of its $12 million budget. It is beyond that $24 million point, which is very good for this movie that I've already talked about enough, and you already know how I feel about these kind of movies. I've not seen the movie yet, which is why I have nothing to really say about it, but it's about to leave the top 10, because it's at number 8. We got like at least 3 new releases coming out, so I'm thinking this will be pushed out. So I guess say goodbye to Home Again, everybody. Also, say hello, but also goodbye to number 9, which is Till Death Do Us Part, a movie that I have no idea what it is. So I'm just going to breeze through it. It made $1.5 million this weekend. How's the budget? No idea. Didn't give me one. Congrats on your probably low-budget film. Finally, closing out the top 10 is Mother, making $1.4 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $16 million. Now, the budget, a lot of people are claiming that this is a box office flop, and a lot of people were probably hoping, hey, what about the worldwide numbers? I'm sure that'll add to something. No! The worldwide chart, as it's about to leave the top 10, only is at $34 million. So it's crossed the $30 million production budget, but as far as doubling it, the doubling equation that will lead to how much it needs to make in order to be considered a success, it is not at $60 million at all. It's $26 million behind. It's definitely not going to get any more money at this point. You can officially say that Darren Aronofsky's Mother is a flop. Whether you like this or not, completely up to you. But now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Now, I'm going to say number 1 is going to be Blade Runner 2049. Number 2 will be My Little Pony, the movie. I think a lot of kids, well, younger kids, and of course the bronies, will probably be drawn to this. Number 3 will be The Mountain Between Us. Number 4, It. And number 5, American Made. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.